Welcome back to Shutter Magazine. My name is Dustin Lucas, and today I'm going to show you how to create an action and create some droplets. And what this is going to do is it's going to streamline the two programs, Lightroom and Photoshop. And I think that's a really important term to remember for your workflow, specifically creating a professional workflow. You want to create streamline, which is sort of simplifying the matter, and you're doing a little less hands-on during the exchange of both programs. But as well as you're creating efficiency, so you're not just sitting around your computer waiting for all these things to happen and wasting your precious time. You can be spending more time on your business. And that's the end goal, right? To have more time for your business and less time for these pesky tasks. So let's start by opening up Photoshop and creating an action. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up whichever, any photo that you want to use to create the action. And a really important part of this is making sure if you have an unlocked layer, say it says layer 1 or it's a different name, you want to make sure that that's consistent. Usually when you bring up JPEGs or PSDs or TIFFs into Photoshop, it's usually a locked background layer like this. But if that's not the case, you can always right click on it and flatten the image, and that will bring it back to this background layer. So what we want to do is we're going to start by going into this actions palette, and it's going to be this little plus sign here. If it's not available for you in Photoshop, you can go to Window and select Actions there. But what we're going to do is we're looking at right now is a couple different sets of actions, and that just means groups basically, or folders of different actions. But what we want to do is, in order to create an action, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this little folded cornered piece of paper here, and we're going to go ahead and name it whatever we want. I'm just going to call it levels, levels and curves. And you have the option to put it in default actions or action 1. I'm going to put it in action 1. You also have the ability for function keys if you want to, make it even easier to apply these actions, or if they're ones that you use all the time, it's a much quicker way to access it. And as well as you can color code them in whichever way that you want to set that up. So we're going to go ahead and hit record, and then I'm going to start applying layer adjustments. Say I'm going to start with a levels layer adjustment, and I'm just kind of doing a vague. A real vague adjustment here. It has nothing really, nothing to do with this image at all. We're just creating actions. So I'm going to go ahead and make a curves adjustment. Maybe I want to flatten the blacks up. Excuse me. Hit levels. I want to hit curves. And we want to flatten these blacks up. I'm going to lift those up just a bit, just to open them up. And I'm going to level off. Going to bring down those highlights just a bit. Just lift up the tonality. The actions themselves are still recording. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is hit stop. And what that's done is it's created all of these different steps within the action I created. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and save. Make sure that I'm saving these actions. And we'll go ahead and click on that. Since it's not giving me that option there, that means that the action set itself, we're going to go ahead and we have to hit save on the action set. Go ahead and click save in there, and go ahead and replace it. So that way it stays in Photoshop, and it doesn't delete itself. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to close out of this image and reopen it back up. And what that's going to allow us to do is we can click on this action, this levels and curves, hit play, and it's automatically going to apply to it, which is great. Now you have the ability to paint in with a brush. You can paint in and mask in and do all that work you want to and bring it back out. It's great. So that's creating an action, and what we're going to do now is we're going to create a droplet that's going to access that action. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is X off my image. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to go back up to, I'm going to go to File. And this is the same place that you'd be doing for batching. So if we wanted to batch a bunch of photos, say, with this levels and curves action, what I can do is I can actually choose the specific images. Now, what I'm looking for is once I find the folder of images that I'm interested in using, which I'm going to go through my folder here. So I'm going to grab all these images. Say I want to run this action on them. And so this is just a batch process. Once you have the images, say, already saved out where you have them exported out of Lightroom. And you have a few options here for destination none, save and close, folder. I'm gonna go ahead and hit destination none because I want them to all open up in Photoshop. So I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna run through that whole process of all these images, open them all up, and run that action on them. It's gonna be pretty quick. It's not too many images. That's what it has to run on. The curves in the adjustment layer have been applied to all of these images, which is great. Much quicker process. Now you're thinking, well, you might have known the batch process. It's you can do that same sort of thing from Bridge with the images, which is great. You have the tools, and you can go to Photoshop, and you can choose batch from Bridge as well with all the images highlighted from that program. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to close all of these images here and choose not to save them. And what I'm going to do is show you how to create a droplet, and that's our next step. So what we're going to do is, under the same option as batch, we're going to go down here to create a droplet. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow this action to be played and ran from separate programs, say like Lightroom. So what we want to do is we want to save this droplet in a good location. Saving it in the same spot as your actions is actually a pretty smart idea as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it in my main folder, and I'm gonna call this droplet the same exact name as what my action I want to run on it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna run. I created a sharpening dodge and burn action here. I want to show you. It's a little more intense. It's sort of my more of my output action. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just save as the same name and do tone sharp. Let's see here. Let me type correctly. Tone sharp dodge and burn. And I'm going to save it in Shutter Magazine. Go ahead and hit save. And that's the specific action that I've chosen to play. I'm not going to have it override and check any of these boxes. I'm going to stop it for errors. That's just so in case it doesn't run the whole process and I think it's done even when there's an error. I'm going to keep it on none because I want them to open up in Photoshop for me to do my my fine-tune editing with layer masks and such. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Could not be completed because the droplet command was because the file name was not valid. It's probably because I had those backslashes in there. That's a very good rule as far as the alphanumeric options that you can use. So I'm going to go back in here again. Save this just as tone sharp dodge burn. I'm going to do my underscore so it'll save. Put this back onto the action that I need. Go ahead and click OK. So the droplet has saved, and I'll make sure it's saved in my Finder. I have on my desktop. Let's see where it's saved specifically. Here. This is where my droplet has saved. So now what we're going to do is we're going to quit Photoshop and we're going to open up Lightroom. And what I need to do is I have my all the images here say that I want to run from Lightroom. They've all been edited. They're all starred. They've all been selected. What I want to do is export them out of Lightroom. And I want to see what we got going on here. I'm going to turn this off. And what you're seeing is I don't have my images linked. So of course, I need to do that first. So I'm going to relink all my photos, which are on my external hard drive here. Touch, choose. And the way I can do that is by highlighting them all. It's showing me that I have all the original photos without smart previews, which is great. Pull up to give don't need any of the previews. So all the photos are there. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to export all these images. That was a hotkey that I used, Shift Command E. You also have the ability just to do file export. Even quicker ways just to right click on one of the photos and go down to export. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create an export preset as well as link it to that droplet. So what we need to do is we need to choose a specific folder that we want all these to go to. I'm just going to have them go to the desktop for now because go ahead and click New Folder and call it Export. I'm not going to put it in a subfolder. I'll just have them go into the Export folder just for now. I'm going to keep them as a JPEG as their original images. If you're wanting to export these out as PSDs, that's a great way to do it as well, and a little bit better quality exporting out if you're exporting your original RAW photo. So I'm gonna stay with a PSD just for quality's sake. And what you have down here at the very bottom, I'm skipping all these other options. Most important ones are for me are where it's saving, file type, file settings, and then this post-processing, which some of you have noticed that you might be able that you can open them directly into Photoshop once it exports, which is great. But I want them to run those actions instead of just opening in Photoshop. I want it to do a lot of the work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and hit open another application, and from here we're going to choose that droplet that we created, and that droplet's just like an automated, it's like an automated process that's going to run all those actions for us. So we're going to go and find that droplet, which is here. I'm going to go ahead and hit choose. And at this point, I'm ready to export. So I'm going to go ahead and export all the photos. And Sal Sancada was gracious enough to give me some of his portrait images to run this action on. These are definitely not my photographs. So as you can see, all the images have had these this action applied to them, and all the layer adjustments have been given. And it only took about 15 20 minutes to do a total of 32 images. So I mean, with that time frame, I could have been definitely doing something else and not staring at the computer screen, which for me is a big plus in this. And so I leave you with that, in concluding that the best way that these processes will work for you is figuring out what adjustments you want to use, and just sticking to creating actions with that you can create use a droplet and sort of just batch edit a lot of your photos. You can go in here and go into each individual photo and start doing your dodging and burning. But I leave you with that. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know what you think, and let me know what's working for you and what isn't. I'd be more than happy to help in any way I can. Thank you.